I got my first ever AOK, and I had the best comic book garage sale experience yet. What did I get? Nothing. Intrigued? Confused? Check it out. Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Chris and this is Northgarden Comics. What a weekend it's been so far. The guys over at Most Wanted Comics held a liquidation sale where every book was $1. I picked some things up there. I headed down to Issues Needed Comics in Apple Valley, Minnesota, hit their dollar bins up once again. Another store in my area called Mind's Eye Comics, they had a clearance sale on independent books. All that, plus I got my first ever AOK, and I had the best comic book garage sale experience yet, where I brought home nothing. Now the garage sale piece you're gonna have to hold on for. I'll share that story in just a few minutes. First, I wanna get to this AOK. I'll also say this is a really full weekend at the Northgarden household. Tomorrow is all about a garage project that we are working on, so I have got to make sure I get this filmed tonight, and I am going to do my best to get through it in one take as much as possible. So my apologies if it's a little extra rough around the edges. So this AOK, like I said, first ever AOK, I was contacted by a viewer. His name is Ben. He lives here in the Twin Cities Metro in my general area. He was one of the first people, I think, to find me when I came on YouTube, and then we started following each other on Instagram as well, and we've exchanged some comments back and forth and some messages. And then just recently, he reached out to me and said, you know, I really appreciate your content on YouTube, and I've enjoyed connecting with you on Instagram, and I've got some comics I'd like to give you. Now, first things first, so happy and grateful that he and some others are watching this content and enjoying it, and completely humbled and blown away that he would want to give me, out of the kindness of his own heart, some of his own comic books. So, fantastic. Look at this stack. I mean, this is a massive, this is like 40 comic books that he gave me, and he was going to ship them to me, and like I said, he's here in the Twin Cities as well. And I said, there's no reason you should spend shipping on these things. Why don't we just meet up? And we both knew we liked the store Issues Needed. Let's meet there. It's a mutual place that we like. And he gave this to me there, and then we both got to go through the dollar bins and find some things there together. So that was fun. Great guy. And Ben, thank you once again. And I'm happy now to be able to share these with others who are going to watch also. So let's get to these books here. So first up, we've got some Excalibur, which is a volume I am working on trying to get the full 125 issue run, and he had a handful of these here. That's number 63. This is number 68. Joe Madureira cover. We've got 69. And this is great because this helps me to fill in this run. I did not have all of these. 76. 77 and 79. Okay, then we go over here. We've got Ultimate Fantastic Four number 35. I don't have any of these, but now I'm intrigued. This is God War Part 3, and that just sounds cool, so I'm probably going to go and hunt for the rest of that story now. And we've got a mix of things here. This is a DC book, and I'm primarily a Marvel person, so most anything I get DC is going to be new to me, especially if it's more recent. This is Superman, Wonder Woman, Whom Gods Destroy, Book 1, The Dream. It's 1 of 4, it's a square bound, written by Chris Claremont. I think this is like the late 90s, I think is what they said this is from. So that's very cool, looking forward to that. Here we've got The Justice League of America, JLA Primeval. Another square-bound book. It looks like a one-shot. I have not read this, never seen it before, so that's very cool. Here's a number 1. This is a recent book, The Unexpected number 1. I don't know these characters at all, but I'm always a sucker for a number 1. Here's an older book. This is a Who's Who. Kind of like I'm familiar with Marvel's official handbook of the Marvel Universe. I think Who's Who is DC's version, and this is from November of '85. And It is number, I can't see the number on here. Oh, it's volume 9. Cool. And we got some Simpsons comic action, number 2. I don't have any Simpsons things. Got some Power Pack, number 12. I get a few issues of the Power Pack, but I don't have this one. And that's cool when you get you got the X-Men in there. And then here's number 27, guest starring Wolverine and X-Factor. Then he knows I'm a Transformers fan. Here's Transformers Sector 7 from IDW. These comics are all tied into the live-action movies from the last 10, 13 years. Here we got Marvel Fanfare number 19. Super cool because I just started putting this volume together. And the great thing about just starting is that you're more likely not to have something than to have it. And so, of course, this is number 19. I do not have it. So that's a great addition to my collection. Here's another Transformers book. Another one I don't have. This is Hearts of Darkness. I think this was a Transformers story. It's IDW. And I think it takes place during like the Industrial Revolution. I'm not 100% sure, but they're more of a period piece. And so the alternate modes for all the Transformers are, older like steam locomotive, things like that. So always cool when you get different alt modes. A couple one-shots here. This flashes me back to childhood. Garbage Pail Kids. And this is Garbage Pail Kids Go Hollywood. It's a one-shot. And then Garbage Pail Kids Puke-tacular. Of course, it's the Puke-tacular. Another one-shot. I wish I still had them, but I used to have a bunch of Garbage Pail Kids cards from when I was a kid. This is a very cool Robin cover. This is Robin number 138 from like 2005. That's a really cool cover. I like that a lot. Then we've got some Green Arrow, number 74. Not familiar with this, but cool. We've got an X-Men Annual from 1996. Sent them down there. Another number 1 of a limited series, part 1 of 6. Batman Huntress. Another one. We got a real good mix of a lot of different things here. Captain America. Love Captain America. And I don't have many issues from his first volume. That's number 315. And then Alpha Flight number 9. Very cool. I don't remember the story here. I don't know if this is the thing. Sure looks like it would be. I have a few Punisher books, but not this one. This is the Punisher Armory, number 6. I think I have like the first one of this, but that's it. And then Punisher Warzone, number 21. I don't have any of these either. Very cool. Oh, and this is super cool. We got Transformers Headmasters. This is a 4-part miniseries from late 80s. And that's part 1. Out of order here. Part 2, and these are really nice condition as well. And part 3. Sorry, I'm pausing because I'm staring at the covers. Is it Brainstorm, Getaway? I forget all the different characters' names. Then we've got Wolverine Saga number 1. This is a 4-part square-bound story, kind of a history. And then from, I think they call this Wolverine Volume 2, but it's the first ongoing title with Wolverine, number 28. And number 30. And this, I've kind of referenced this before, during a time when they would, do 2 or even 3 issues in a month. So you'd have like early September, mid-September, late September. ROM 1, Ryal Gage Messina. It looks like a one-shot. It's thicker. IDW. Don't know though. Look forward to reading that. And we've got some Wonder Man going back to the 90s. I only have number 1 from this volume, but I like their team-ups. Guest starring, of course it would be Beast, right? And then also Wonder Man number 6. And then we got Spectacular Spider-Man, or in this case, the Cosmic Spectacular Spider-Man, number 160. I don't have that either. And then we've got some Iron Man, Invincible Iron Man. This is number 11. It's got references to the 1998 Wizard award there. So I'm guessing this is the volume probably after Heroes Reborn, if we're talking 98. After they were returned to the main Marvel universe. Here's number 12 with Ms. Marvel on the cover as well. Cool. I don't have any of these as well. So I think Ben thought I was going to have a lot of duplicates here, and that's not the case, Ben. This is very cool. These are a lot of things. I don't have most of these. Fury of the Dragon. Now it just says dragon, but I'm guessing that's Fin Fang Foom. We'll see. And then, lastly, number 18. So that's awesome. And again, Ben, thank you so much for this AOK. So humbled by that kind gesture, and glad to meet you, glad to talk, get to know you a little bit, glad that we could go dive in on some 99-cent long boxes together. So that was a cool experience. Looking forward to being able to connect again at some point in the future. Now, the garage sale story. So I've mentioned in other videos that my wife, Nicole Northgarden, she's got her own YouTube channel. So if you're into thrifting, DIYing, crafting, things like that, check her out. But she and I go garage sailing pretty much every weekend when the weather cooperates and it's in season. And when we go to these garage sales, it's not very often that I see comic books, but I'm always looking. And I will search different apps on my phone, websites, Craigslist, things like that, to see if there are garage sales in my area that are listing that they have comics, and we'll try to hit those. Most of the time it's one or two or none at all. So I've made it my habit to start asking. And just this year, so every garage sale we go to, I just talk to the host and say, hey, do you happen to be selling any comic books? And most of the time they've said no. The last time we went out, there were 2 people in the same day that said yes, they probably had a box somewhere in the house, but that's as far as it went. So they weren't interested in going in and getting them. But today, we were at a garage sale. It's this older woman who was getting ready to move. I don't know if she was downsizing or just relocating, but she was moving, and she was unloading stuff. And her daughter was there helping to sell stuff, and they were going through, and they were really trying to push, here, want this, want that, and they were trying to get all these things. And we bought a few things, and I had forgotten or didn't think to ask about comic books. And my wife and I got in the car, we were about to leave, and I said, I didn't ask about the comic books. I should go ask. So we stopped the car, I walk back over, and I say, do you happen to have any comic books to sell? And the woman said, I do have a box in the basement. Let me go get it. And now I'm starting to get excited because, oh my gosh, she's got comic books in the basement. And who knows what she's going to come out with. And she comes back out, and she's just holding a cardboard box, no lid on it or anything. And it's a stack. It's a little smaller than what I just showed you. So it's probably about 30, 35 comic books. Nothing bagged or boarded. And everything is Silver Age. Now, I told you that I came home with nothing, but I did get some video. So I'm going to show you the video of all the books that she had, and I'll finish telling the story. Check this out.
X-Men 50 there was not the first book I saw. It was, 4 or 5 books down. These robot fighters were first. But even with that being said, it only took a couple seconds of flipping through the stack to realize I probably wanted all of these books. And so I just put the question out there, how much for the whole stack? And the audience here was me, the owner, I think it's her daughter, was there, and then 1 or 2 other people who may have been neighbors or friends. And I'm guessing it was the daughter who said pretty quickly, I don't know, $100. And then someone else said, I don't know, some of those seem pretty old, they might be pretty valuable. So the owner then put it back to me and said, what do you think is fair? Now, if the price was $100 and she knew what she had or didn't care what she had and was just looking to get rid of the books, I would have taken that in a heartbeat. But she wasn't sure what she had and was asking for my input, and I'm not looking to take advantage of this woman or anybody for that matter. That is not how I want to get comic books. And so I told her up front, I said, you've got some pretty valuable books in here. And so we evolved the conversation into how could she maximize the value and get the most for these books. She had asked about selling them at a local store, for example, and of course that's a possibility, and that's a pretty low effort way to sell them. But anytime you sell to a store or any reseller for that matter, you have to keep in mind that they're going to give you less for your books because they have to be able to turn around, mark the price up, and still make a profit. I mean, that's what they're doing. They're in business to make a profit like that. So your better bet, if you can, is to sell them to an end collector. And that takes a little bit more work and effort. And one of her friends was going to take the books, go home, do some research online, and we talked a little bit about how to do that on eBay and otherwise, how you can start to investigate to see what these books are going for today, how much you might be able to ask for them. Now, before my wife and I left, I did exchange phone numbers with the owner and just offered to be available if she had any questions or needed any help in valuing these books. And even though I went home empty-handed, the experience was still a great one, and I'm really thankful for it. And two things I'll say. One is that I was a history major in college, and for me, my favorite way to engage with books like this is interactively, to be able to see them, to touch them, to flip through the pages, smell those pages, and to interact with that bit of history, more so than if they were slabbed or just, from a distance as a wall book somewhere in some store. The second thing I'll say is that if I'm ever going to get a collection like this of old books with some keys in it, this is exactly how I want to do it. I want to come across a person who was the original collector, and you get to take those books from them and cherish them yourself. This collection belonged to the woman's husband. He passed away 16 years ago, and these are his books from when he was a kid. And to me, that adds a great level of value to these books. The first layer of value is the stories themselves that are captured on those pages between the covers. But then the next level of story is the story of the person who collected it, the kid who went to the newsstand, saved his or her money, or was given the money to be able to buy this comic book, read it, loved it, enjoyed the stories of these heroes, and then held on to these comic books for all these years. That is a great story in itself, and to have that personal connection to these specific books and to know a little bit about the person who first bought them and loved them, that makes them even more valuable than just what the market price is for a particular first appearance of a character. So even though I didn't come home with any books, it was still great to be able to hear about her husband's collection, see some of the books that he enjoyed as a kid, and grateful that she let me film the experience to remember it.
All right, that's going to do it for this video, showing you my first ever AOK and sharing with you a very cool, though fruitless, comic book garage sale story. A special thanks to my coworker Patrick. He's the one who's always prompted me to say, always be sure to ask, do you have comics you want to sell? How much for all of them? We're so close, Patrick. Each time gets a little bit closer, and eventually it's gonna happen, and I'm gonna come home with some really cool additions to my collection for a really good price. And as you, the viewer, are watching this, I hope you're encouraged to, as you go out there, you go to garage sales, ask them, do you have comics? How much do you want for all of them? You never know until you ask. And if you've got a cool story like that to share, where you've had some success in that, let me know in the comments down below. If you like content like this, do the channel a favor. Hit that subscribe, give it a thumbs up, leave me a comment down below. It all just helps support the channel, and I love to connect with others who share a love for this hobby. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.